very hot dog here. So this is fruit basket number 8.
8. Yeah.
Welcome back.
It has been a while.
I know.
We haven't recorded one in like a month, probably.
And it'll probably be about another week until this one actually gets put out.
I have some time. I think I actually might need to be a little bit... Is this me?
That's you.
Is this me?
Yeah.
Ooh, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
So anything new with you that you'd like to talk about?
Well, we just went to San Francisco.
We did, yeah.
A couple weeks ago, actually. It's been a while. But we just went for a little vacation. We were there for about 5 days. Did you have fun?
I did, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it was it's one of those things, like, I enjoy traveling places with somebody who doesn't make me do things.
Right.
If you people who plan out a whole thing and I have like a schedule and agenda of things I have to do, I don't enjoy that at all.
I'm not that person either.
Which is great, because I would have hated you.
I think I sort of adapt to the people I'm with.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are kind of like that. They love to see everything, or at least my mom does. I'm not sure. But yeah, so when we were in Paris, my parents and they came to visit me while I was staying there. We decided to just go see everything we possibly could, except for like Versailles. Mm-hmm. That's it. But it was, I think I do just adapt to the people I'm with.
Yeah.
But I much prefer what we did. We just relaxed a lot.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
Yeah.
We ate really good food and then crashed for like 2 hours back at the place we were staying.
That's what vacation should be, I think. It's just all about not doing... But like, yeah, but that's the thing is, it's so funny to me about people who plan out massive trips, because it's like, why would you want to just exhaust yourself?
Then it doesn't feel like a vacation anymore.
No, it feels like work.
It does.
I guess
want
people
that.
just have different desires and wants on those kinds of things, but that's certainly not my desire or want. So
in that case, it's sort of like forcing yourself to experience things.
Right.
It's not an experience that comes to you. It's,
right.
Let's go see the Eiffel Tower and maybe something cool will happen, or maybe we'll come up with a cool story to tell.
Right. Well, that's the kind of thing. It's like whenever I travel out of the country, it's like I try to find young people who do stuff, and they go, and they always say the same thing. Like, do you want to see this sights? And I go, no, I want to do what you do.
Yes.
Like, what is the thing that you do? And,
I want to feel like I live here.
Right. Exactly. And it's kind of that thing where most times when you go, I mean, the architecture is one thing I can kind of get behind, where I get kind of excited, but like I had to make this concession in getting older that I refuse. Museums and paintings mean absolutely zero to me. I have no emotional.
Why is that,
movement.
Jordan? Why do you hate paintings and museums?
Because I don't hate it. It's just this thing of like, it's a thing of like, how long do I have to stare at this so people think that I'm sophisticated, you know? And then it's a sort of thing of like, I've never had, well, it's not true never, but very rarely has physical art, and so that excludes music and movies, ever given me any sort of emotional reaction. And
so stoic.
Yeah.
No emotion behind that face.
And it's like one of those things where like, I guess people would go and see paintings to be like, oh wow, it's old, but I'd rather go into a building. It's old. It's so old that there was no photographs at the time, which is why these painters existed. But now we have photographs, so I'd rather go into a building that is old and like smells interesting and has like a feel to it.
Smells interesting.
Yeah, like when you walk into like one of those 500-year-old churches, they have a smell and like a feeling to them, and that kind of thing I can get behind. It's like
dust and old men.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
A lot of old churches are.
What,
excuse me?
Yeah. Well. I need to talk to
I'm
you
sorry
about
that I'm just referring to
rampant sexism.
Honest history of churches.
And actually, the rampant sexism you just displayed is going to lead us into the clip that I want to talk about.
Oh, God, no. Oh, no.
So are
you going to force me to be a sexist in this podcast?
No. I just, it's kind of like a larger thing with this particular thing, but this will be a shorter podcast again, like the last one, because I didn't really have time to produce anything serious because I've been working a lot, but... playing catch up after our trip, but this particular thing, you've seen it, but
I've seen it,
but it troubled. Oh, go away,
look
Franco.
Who it is.
But it troubled me slightly.
Oh no, who? Oh.
I don't feel comfortable in a small town. I get a bit tense, mainly because I'm in this situation. And in a small town, that's all right from a distance. People are like, oh, good bloke.
Is it one of the finest hours of stand-up you've seen?
So here's
This is what's her name? Hannah Gadsby.
Hannah Gadsby, and the stand-up is called Nannette. And I was going to watch it today, just so I would actually be able to talk about it.
No, we
but
didn't.
I couldn't. I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
This is the trailer for her stand-up special on Netflix, and you can go watch it now. It's available there,
which has been heavily promoted. I mean, like this has literally been. This was. I first saw this as a targeted ad on Instagram, as if Instagram.
Seriously?
Yeah, as if it and YouTube as well.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where I don't know what YouTube thinks that I enjoy, but this is the antithesis of the things that I find funny and enjoy. But I want to break down kind of what she just first said. So like her first thing, and then this is kind of a little bit of a self-deprecation, which is ironic considering what she's about to say. But she's talking about how people mistake her for a dude, but whose fault is that?
She is wearing a suit. She has short hair. I mean, not naturally feminine features.
Right, which is okay.
Yeah.
But also it's not my dog is very hot, so you can probably hear him on the microphone.
I'm so hot.
Yeah, so there's not this is all on you, sweetheart. I don't really think there's much else going on.
Well, let's keep watching. Let's see what else she has to say.
Not if you paid me, although the pay would be substantially better.
So that's a really neat one.
I wouldn't want to be a straight white man. Not if you paid me, although the pay would be substantially better.
So that's a really interesting thing too, as it takes probably a 11-minute Google search to know that the wage gap doesn't exist. But she seems to still subscribe.
Whoa,
to that theory.
Jordan!
Well, I mean, we've already discussed.
I know
that,
it's not controversial to say that.
No,
really.
well, it is to people like her.
If you're a rational human being, it's not controversial to say that.
But so, and what's so interesting to me is that got it. What I think is so interesting about the stand-up special and this sort of stuff in general is that we are living in the era that applause substitutes laughter. And so these jokes aren't funny. She's just making points on a pulpit. Like this is basically like a bad TEDx talk, essentially, so far. So let's see if it improves slightly. There's the applause.
I do think I have to quit comedy, though. And it's probably not the forum to make such an announcement, is it? I've built a career out of self-deprecation.
That said, it's a comedy arguing against comedy.
So why would anybody want to watch this?
Right. You want to laugh? Don't watch this.
Yeah, you want to laugh? Well, you're out of luck because we're arguing against what's funny.
Feel free to sit in front of your computer and clap, though.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do.
Yep, because she's going to make she has some hot takes about the patriarchy, how she's a lesbian probably, and which is a super interesting identity that she should be telling us all about. She's
probably been doing, I don't know anything, I don't know the rest for stand-up, but she's probably been doing stand-up about being a lesbian for her entire career.
That's one of the biggest bummers. Like, it's why I think that, like, I do think that women can be as funny as men, obviously. I think, I like Christopher Hitchens' point he made years ago in Vanity Fair before he died, and he just said, look, you know, he wrote an article called Women Aren't Funny, and it was meant to be inflammatory. And of course, everyone goes, what about Amy Poehler? What about, you know, all these kinds of funny women? And he goes, of course, there are funny women. My point was that women don't have to try as hard as men to have sex. So it's like we have to develop this defense mechanism in order to, like, be unattractive and hideous.
If you're ugly,
yeah,
you should be funny if you want to get your rocks off.
Exactly. And I think that's a relatively valid point. I mean, it's obviously an opinion, but I think that it would be hard for anyone to argue that like women haven't been charmed by a man who's confident and has a sense of humor, even if he's a grotesque bridge troll. So anyway, let's keep this going.
Dating humor. And I simply will not do that anymore, not to myself or anybody who identifies with me.
So there's the applause, and this clam standing up applauding her, saying that she will not do self-deprecating humor to herself anymore. And what's interesting about self-deprecating humor is it does what to the individual who's doing it to themselves?
Well, you answer that question.
It makes them much more endearing, right? Because it means that you don't take yourself too seriously. Which I suspect that Hannah Gadsby might take herself a wee bit seriously.
Maybe.
Yeah. Which I think that might be one of the least practical ways to be funny is by being super self-serious. And it actually brings me to a larger thing. Like we were talking briefly just about how, you know, we're both relatively liberal people, but it's one of those things where liberal people have just kind of lost their sense of humor, and then you made the comment it's because they just take themselves way too seriously.
They do.
And so we're at this weird kind of crossroads now where I don't really know who's this for, do you think?
Well, we kind of know who it's for. It's not really for comedy audiences. It's for audiences that are hyper liberal, and because this kind of stuff, this isn't a comedy special. This is it's like you said, it's like a shitty TED Talk.
Yeah.
There's not much to laugh at in this trailer. She's just saying that she's quitting comedy, that she's done making self-deprecating jokes. Then where is your special going to be funny? How can it be a comedy special? It's not really that at all.
No.
It's more so like a documentary about her leaving the comedy world.
Yeah.
Than it should be branded as a comedy special.
Yeah,
it should be branded as a
comedy special is a bit
her.
of a misnomer. It's
Yeah.
anyway, let's see what else she has to say.
Do you understand what
I don't-
self-deprecation means? It's not humility. It's humiliation. I want my story.
Okay. So that graphic, if you aren't watching, it said a Netflix comedy special, and then it erased comedy. So I guess they're listening to us as we're recording this.
Yeah, because there is no humor to be found in Nannette.
Nope. Why is it called Nannette?
I don't know, and I don't care enough to
Is
find
that a
out.
British thing? Is it like
Well,
a
she's
Nannette
Australian.
is- oh,
I think.
is that a descendant of British slang?
It might... I think that Nannette may be a Hannah sort of, like, nickname kind of thing. I feel like another podcast was talking about it, and that's what they mentioned, and one of them actually did have the courage to watch it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, anyway, let's...
Because what I would have done to have heard a story like mine.
So what she would have done to hear a story like hers, and then she gets uproarious applause.
How fucking self-serving can you be to say something like
Right.
that as the ending tagline of your special?
Right.
God.
And it's interesting, too, because it's like...
My story is so important,
Right.
is what she just said.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me, too, because I don't really understand... So let's say that there are funny moments in this, right? They didn't choose any of them for this trailer.
Which seems like counterintuitive.
Right. Like, the only kind of quasi-joke she made is that I look like a man, which is, like, accurate.
And
so,
it was sort of self-deprecating, and it was at the very beginning of this.
Right.
And then she just erased all of it.
And also, like, I think that she purposefully does that look because she'll attract, like, a hot lipstick lesbian, because that seems to kind of be the case when this sort of thing happens.
I think I'd consider myself a chapstick lesbian.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's all of the appeal of a lipstick lesbian, but sort of natural beauty. It's not lipstick, it's chapstick, so it's like a clear, glossy look. I would have clear nails, they'd be short and clean.
If you were a chapstick lesbian, would you shave your armpits?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, legs and armpits shaved?
Yeah. It's all of... It's being femme, but it's a little bit... It's like a Glossier kind of lesbian.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I don't really know what the purpose of this is. Like, what like, and it's a bit of a foreboding harbinger of things to come, I think.
You think more is going to happen like this?
Yes, because I think that people, it's this we've talked about varying degrees of this phenomenon on this podcast, but it's this idea that people are afraid to say that this sucks shit because she's a lesbian talking about the patriarchy, and she's like one of the protected class, and she won't be for long because gay people aren't anymore, but she's a woman, so she's people think women are minorities and they're extra protected, so she's still got like a few of the rungs on the oppression hierarchy sort of list, but she won't have that status for much longer. She'll be down in the shit with the rest of us, us white men, as she likes to say. But yeah, I'm sure she talks a lot about being a lesbian and whatever else it is that she does, but I just don't really, again, it's that kind of thing of like, your identity is not terribly funny or interesting, and you clearly, it's clearly terribly important to you because you find yourself terribly important. which is the most unfunny thing you could possibly
it sucks.
do. Yeah.
Ugh. I see it on Instagram. I see people who take themselves way too seriously, and they have these ugly captions on their posts, and that's sort of the light version of this.
Right.
This is full blown. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah. It's a TEDx talk. It's not a comedy special. It's a TEDx talk. And it's been weird because Netflix has just been investing in these really terrible, unfunny stand-ups lately.
As you rub your face, just so depressed.
Because it is one of those things where it's like they've now totally saturated the market, and the types that they tend to be investing in are they're always like very targeted. So I remember one they had was I think it's like Hassan Minhaj. He's like a Daily Show correspondent, and his whole bit is just kind of about being a brown guy. And it's like,
sorry, I didn't mean to block your face if I did.
Oh, he just wanted to flex on camera.
I did.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah. Very impressed. Ooh. I feel like I have to pay you now for this gun show. But yeah, I don't really know what. I don't really know what who they're appealing to, or if they're getting any return on investment with this. I feel like there's no possible way because
I think they are, because of people like us criticizing it and people like this audience absolutely loving it. They're getting both sides watching this thing.
But here's the thing I keep wondering is like, well, I'm not going to watch it. I don't really have much of an interest. I mean, she basically.
I think we should.
But it's one of those things where she basically told me that this isn't for you because this isn't comedy. And so if I want to watch like, you know, an egomaniac proselytize in front of a giant audience, like, I don't know, I'd watch the 700 Club. It's like I would watch some, like, I'd go to a mega church. Like, this is what this looks like. That is what this is weird. Is this looks like someone in on a pulpit in front of a church. But she's talking about the religion of her outrage and how everything hurts her feelings, and she takes herself super fucking seriously, and she's sensitive, which is, again, just a comedy vacuum. But we're being told that this is how we should be behaving as a society. And I just don't think that, like, someone who's not being, like, willing to make fun of themselves or, like, be made fun of is not somebody that's all that enjoyable to be around because, again, they're so self-serious. And it's just exhausting. Like, it would be exhausting to hang out with Hannah Gadsby.
I think so, too. Do you feel that this is maybe... that this isn't actually her? That this is something that she feels like she should do and not what she actually wants to do? Because I had never heard of her before this. Do you think her career was going down the toilet and she needed to find a new audience?
Right.
What is this about? Do you think it's really who she is? This is the end of her, that she's leaving comedy, or that self-deprecation just makes her sad now? What is it?
I don't think that she's leaving comedy. I think that she's just
entering something else.
Yeah, she's just going to be a shit motivational speaker. I don't really know what her goal is exactly, but yeah, no, I mean, it's possible. Like, you know, it's kind of the thing I feel about like Ellen DeGeneres, where like that's sort of like, hey, I'm like a happy lady is so. If you look at pictures, it's funny because I've been rewatching Arrested Development, as you know, and I love Portia de Rossi on that show. Yeah. But if you ever Google image search like them together, they just look fucking miserable.
Oh no!
And then also from friends that I know, that Ellen is just really like a monstrous person, and I've never, anybody that's ever interacted with her, I've never heard anything positive. I mean, it's possible that all these people are making something up, but I have heard from enough people that are inside that just say that she is atrocious. And so
that's sad.
But it is kind of interesting because it's like maybe the same kind of thing of like where all of Ellen's sort of good deeds are to sort of compensate for the fact that maybe even she knows she's not a good person. But then what would you say that this is then if she's doing the same thing? She's actually like a monstrously insecure sort of like bully, which I suspect that might be the case. Because these are the people that love to tell you what you're doing wrong. You know what I mean? Opposed to taking a look at themselves and what maybe they're doing wrong or why they're miserable. They have no interest in that. They'd rather just tell you how you should improve and who you should offend. Also, what's interesting about this, it had me thinking, I got a little bit high the other night, and I was thinking about Arrested Development again. And I was thinking about how comedy is taking this really weird turn where what are we going to be like? We're going to not be able to touch any territory anymore because I was thinking about, like, the crux of so many jokes in Arrested Development is the fact that Buster lost his hand.
Yeah.
So, like, people without a hand is not very many people globally, right? But that's going to be the next kind of thing of, like, mocking somebody with that sort of disability is going to be verboten again. And it's like, because it's like, we're just going to keep moving on to groups once one's acceptable, like, unacceptable to make fun of. Even if it's, I just see this getting worse and worse and worse and worse to where it's like, it just, I think that someone like Hannah Gadsby is effectively trying to kill anything that's funny. And things that are funny are, like, someone without a hand is funny to us because it makes us fucking uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because it's not something you see every day. It's actually pretty radically unusual. And so it's sort of trying to make light of a really kind of bad situation. And it's strange to me that their idea of this, it's a very, like, dystopian sort of future. And I don't know if they think they're creating it or if it's the future that they want, or I don't really know.
I want to see what kind of ratings this special is getting, because I have a feeling it's not doing well. And I think that may be a sign to Netflix to stop investing in things like this. If they're really gonna, just don't categorize this as a comedy special. No. Anybody who watches any kind of comedy on Netflix is gonna find such a stark contrast if they watch this.
Right.
It's not a comedy special.
No.
It should be in its own category.
What category would you put it in?
I don't know. Annoying.
Yeah, it's definitely
silly.
It's definitely quite a bit of that.
It's just, ugh. I saw it the other day, and it doesn't appeal to me. It shouldn't appeal to anybody, really, if they're looking for something to laugh at.
Yeah.
I'm positive that her comedy career, based on self-deprecation, was actually quite good. And that her moving on to this, not a good idea.
The bummer, though, is that somebody who, like, I bet you that it wasn't, because the fact that she's so accidentally self-serious and self-righteous, even in that, like, what was it, like a minute clip? Like, those type of people can't really make fun of themselves in a funny way, because it clearly does bother them as it does her. So it's like, obviously, like, the things that you self-deprecate are things that are rooted in some kind of truth that you believe in yourself. But it's that sort of thing of, like, where I guarantee you what she makes fun of are just things about, like, her identity as being a lesbian, which is what, again, the first joke was, is like you purposefully present this way because you're trying to attract something. It's like, you're not, like, you're not dressed for speed. I mean, you're kind of trying to make a statement in the way you look, as we all do. Like, I mean, we all sort of dress and present ourselves in a certain way in order to make...
It's not for speed or camouflage. It's not...
And
exactly.
It can be.
Well,
but I mean, clearly not in this case. I mean, clearly she's going for that type of look, because I have met millions of, like, not million, but, like, hundreds of lesbians that look like Hannah Gadsby.
Hundreds, even.
Yes, for sure. I mean, like, there's like, it's kind of the alpha sort of lesbian woman look, and it's like, it's just sort of practical men's type clothing and, like, short hair, you know, and so, like, the joke, that joke is so dated. Like, I feel like that joke would have been funny in the 90s, maybe, but it's like, now that we are sort of front and center in almost everything, I feel like it's just sort of like, what the fuck are you even talking about? And for that to be the lead in, like, the funny moment that they edited into that minute-long trailer is pretty insane to me in a way. But I don't know. I don't really know. It was funny because I showed that clip to a few different people, and it troubles all of them.
Good.
They're just like, I don't really get what they're trying to accomplish here, and it's kind of frightening.
Do you think, if it is doing well on Netflix, is it out yet?
Yeah.
If it's doing well on Netflix, do you think those numbers are real or fabricated?
Fabric. So this is the really tough part. So, like, you remember how Netflix made it so, like, your recommendations, like, are all fucked up now, and it's impossible to find anything
since Amy Schumer's special.
So they have made it effectively impossible to know basically anything.
Yeah, they just set you up with a match, which is probably the same match as anybody you know.
Right, and you can go in and you can actually, like, if you click the arrow down and then you go to details, you can see the reviews on it, but they don't give you an aggregated score. And so it really doesn't serve any purpose.
Yeah.
Like, and it really does suck, because it is one of those things where, like, I buy Amazon products based on their review. Like, I think that like I go on Rotten Tomatoes to look
see
at
if a movie is worth watching,
right?
Yeah,
and now we don't really have that option on a service that I pay for and primarily use because of Amy Schumer, another like massively self-serious sort of unfunny person. So basic point being that it's like effectively impossible to see how it's doing, and Netflix doesn't show numbers, so it's impossible to know. I know no one's really talking about it, so it had that moment where they were clearly dumping a bunch of money into promoting it, but no one I know gives a shit about it or has any feeling. I almost regret talking about it, but it's sort of like it was frightening to me in a way, just because it's like, wow, this is it's that thing of like I would have never imagined the Daily Show would have stayed on as long as it has, because it's just so unfunny. That Jordan Klepper show got canceled, which is great news, because that was just another fucking vacuum of nightmares.
Gosh, it's such a weird connection we have to that show now.
Yeah, agreed. And I wonder if that particular person knows it, because it's just like one of those things where it's like both the Daily Show and then that show were photocopies of shows that were like it's like a photocopy of a photocopy where it keeps degenerating.
We were just talking about this with my grandfather.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like Jordan Klepper was obviously trying to be Colbert Show, and it just failed miserably because he had like the charisma of a ham sandwich, and then Trevor Noah is just so unfunny, and then to have a non-American tell you how stupid you are as an American is equally as undelightful.
That's cool.
So
British people always sound condescending in some way.
Yeah, he's South African, but it's yeah.
British descendants always sound just so
better,
fucking condescending.
Yeah,
I've said that twice in this podcast.
But it's interesting because like even like John Oliver is funny to me because he has good writers, and also he doesn't like it's that thing of where her jokes included, Daily Show and everything else. Everything has the same cadence. It's like da 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 and a Trump, da 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 Trump, and you're just like. And then the audience, clapping seals. And it's just like, yeah, dude, we fucking saw the news. And here's the other deal. Like, no matter what your feelings are about Trump, he's funnier on his own without your help. And so it's like you're photocopying his jokes that he makes and making them unfunny because you're morally outraged about what he says. And it's just like, I think the best thing that all these people could do is just stop fucking talking about him, because it's not fucking funny. It's so unfunny. In fact, like, even they can't. The narrative around everything that he does, even if it is horrific, is such crisis mode and everything's breaking news that they're not gonna. It's not even. There's just no humor in it. Yeah. So like, and if they can't talk about anything else, then they were never all that funny in the first place. And
one thing that I cannot stand, and I thought of this because you said that breaking news thing. God, my parents fucking love Fox News.
Yeah.
I swear they stock up on news throughout the day, and every time they come back from a commercial, there's that Fox News alert, like the red alert sounds like doo-doo.
They have it on the gym,
do it every single fucking time.
Right.
And it's not new news, it's just happening, and you're collecting these news articles or these news fucking stories, and every single time you come back, you're like, red alert. But no, the story broke like 20 minutes ago. You've just been hoarding it so that you could give us another alert after you come back from commercial. Yeah. It's so fucking annoying.
Fox News is one of the... I mean, both Fox News and CNN are competing for just the biggest bunch of dildos on TV.
Yeah.
It's...
I don't watch CNN, so Fox News is the only exposure I get.
Yeah.
That's all my parents watch.
Just imagine the same exact thing, but just talking about the exact opposite opinion. They're literally the same. They're interchangeable completely. And just CNN has less hot women, and that's kind of the difference. Fox News, well, I don't know. They seem to have kind of taken a cue from Fox News. I think like Brooke Baldwin's pretty good looking and all that kind of stuff, but still, it's just a kind of a blood-soaked nightmare of everything. But
I think my family's on its way out of that. It's followed us for so long.
What makes you say that?
I've talked to my parents recently about it. I think they see the light a little bit. They understand how biased what they're watching is.
Yeah.
And
it's like I've said to you before. You can watch that stuff, but just realize that it's fast food. It's just validating your opinion. So obviously, like, it feels good to have your opinion validated, but at the same time, you're not learning anything. So it's like it's yummy, but there's zero nutrition in what you're watching. It's the same thing with like kind of how the YouTube algorithm, you know, goes. Like, I watch one Tucker Carlson clip, and then all I get is just blasted with his stupid face, and it's like, it's like that kind of thing. Well, you liked one, well, you must like it all then. And it's like, oh my god, no. And so,
watch as Tucker destroys a stupid idiot libtard. God, I hate that word, libtard.
Watch as liberal professor destroys Tucker Carlson. It's the same clip, just with a different narrative. It's just so ridiculous, man. And I don't know. I'm very curious to see where comedy is heading, because I think that it's like between who's having to apologize on what day, and also now Hannah Gadsby telling us that we can't make fun of certain things anymore. I'm curious to see what the final outcome of this is going to be, but I don't really see it going anywhere.
I think the response to Hannah Gadsby saying all these things about, or saying that we can't make fun of things, is going to be us making fun of her. So that's the counterattack.
I hope so, but then it's like she can hide behind her identity and say that we're making.
I think that's so stupid.
It is stupid.
We're not attacking you for your identity. We just don't think you're very funny.
Yeah, well,
it's not a comedy special.
Yeah, well,
at least it doesn't look that way. We haven't seen it.
No. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll pony up and watch it, and we can talk about it a little bit more on the next one.
Saddle up, boy.
But I want to keep this one kind of short. So anyway, this is a very short.
Are we ending it here?
Number 7. Yeah. I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about? Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we just saw the second Sicario.
Yeah, it was good.
You want to talk about that at all?
Not really. I mean, it's good. It was fine.
Dope.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
It was brutal. Go see it. They threw in Muslim terrorists for some reason, which was weird.
That was so weird.
Yeah.
And then they abandoned it 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they addressed it the first 5 minutes.
I think they wrote themselves into a corner, but it was weird. It was a good movie though, but it was just, it was not as good. There were parts of it I liked more than the original, but also parts that I did not care for like that. But I don't know. It's not really worth talking about, because I didn't feel really passionately one way or the other way about it.
Yeah. I'm a sweaty boy.
That's part of it for me too. Yeah, it's really hot in California right now.
Even just half an hour of sitting here without AC.
Yeah, and if I had the AC on, it would be loud and you'd all hear it. So
Sweat City.
Anyway, I love you all. Thank you for
love you
checking in, and chomp my corn.
Goodbye, Bones.